First, to set the record straight, if all of you feel that you are younger than me, then you're mistaken. So, age is a state of mind, and it is never ever numerically defined. It should never be numerically defined. And thank you very much for this lovely introduction. And Rohil, thank you very much. So, before I start, I just want to say, we are not the only agency which does this kind of work. Yes, we are privileged to be one of the agencies. And we are also privileged to have done some of the big ones, some of the big events. So, a disclaimer that yes, we are not only the exclusive agency. If I may use the word, because I see a lot of youngsters here, padti bahut hai when you do this event. So, just one experience which I will share, because Rohil wanted to speak about this and he has some very amazing questions drafted, so I'll give you an answer of that. In fact, इसने बदमाश ने question रखा है कि आपकी फटती कितनी है when you do these kind of events. So obviously he's not used this kind of word because you know the polished guy he is. So the words he will be using will be very polished, but उसका मतलब यही है, right, Rohil? So it's a fascinating story, especially for the brand people who want to understand brand and also understand events and then understand the new terminology which has been there for a few years called the experiential marketing. That how has a political leader or a political party used experiential marketing, which can be done or achieved only through events and become successful. And beyond a party, when you talk about a leader, then I think Mr. Modi is a classic example of how he has used experiential marketing, especially the events, to connect with people. So he may not do too many press conferences, but he has done enough engagements with public where he connects directly with public. So that is one part. But today's subject is, why is Prime Minister Modi the world's leading experiential statesman? So we'll start with a small, there's a video bite of his in one of our events. So we will just start from there and then take it on.
इस भव्य समारोह को सफल बनाने के लिए आदरणीय राजनाथ जी की नेतृत्व में पूरी टीम ने जिस कल्पकता के साथ इस स्थान का चयन करना, डिफेंस कॉरिडोर के लिए उत्तर प्रदेश राष्ट्र रक्षा के लिए अनेक विध आयुधों को तैयार करने की भूमि बने, इसके लिए आज का ये इवेंट बहुत लंबे कालखंड तक प्रभाव पैदा करने वाला है। इसलिए राजनाथ जी और उनकी पूरी टीम अनेक अनेक अभिनंदन की अधिकारी है।
So I'll tell you, this is an event we did in Jhansi. So the good part is, sir, you wanted to say something? No, okay. So the good part is, as event managers, as people who are wanting to come into this line, the good part is for you, and then we will see why this is done and accepted by the top man or the leadership, which makes them the statesman, is doing an event is not just putting sound, light, stage, branding. It is not. You have to decide whether you want to be in the bottom 5 or the top 5. It's your call. I always say this, that we were watching Messi. And did anybody watch Messi in India? In a country where football is not doing that great, people spend 10,000 bucks. And they were cheering Messi. So look at Messi didn't play football here. But in the matches, you see the ecstasy, the passion and the glory the players feel on the ground. And the same passion, glory, excitement, everybody feels in the stands. You have to decide whether you want to be sitting in the stand or you want to be in the FOP to play. Ecstasy is same, but the expression is very different. So when you do an event, you have to think, you have to start working, and when you get an opportunity to do it for a person who wants to connect with people, then it is very critical that you go beyond just putting stage, sound, light, branding, AVs, and so on and so forth. What makes Mr. Modi a statesman is that under his leadership, whatever you suggest, if you're suggesting something interesting, if you're talking something out of the box, well, I always say there is no box. So you are talking something which is very different. His office reacts to it very positively. That's what makes him a statesman. And smallest details are also monitored. Obviously, won't be monitored by him personally, but they are all monitored by his office. And approvals come straight from the office. Whether it's an Independence Day event at Red Fort, or it's an event like this, what I just showed you, or anything else. And obviously, we don't expect him to use our name as an agency. But when he says something like this, we are jumping. We are being very happy that, okay, our man is... Why this man's words make whole lot of a difference? Because he's the one who motivates you, he's the one who accepts your thoughts and ideas and turns them into reality. So, going further, why PM Modi is the world's leading experiential statesman? Because the first thing I feel that he's a person who experiments. He is an experiential politician himself. So, I'm a big fan of Narendra Modi, and I have no qualms in saying that I am. Some people may not be, and there are some people who call us, people like me, they call us Andhbhakt. तो भैया सुभाष चंद्र बोस जब थे तो ऐसे लीडर थे जिन्होंने कहा तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा, और लाखों लोग चल पड़े, लाखों लेडीज़ ने अपनी ज्वेलरी अपना सब कुछ उनको दे दिया, तो वो अंधभक्त थे ना. तो अंधभक्त बनने के लिए ऐसा लीडर चाहिए. तो फॉर्चुनेटली पर्सनली मेरी डिवोशन, मेरी कमिटमेंट और मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग is fantastic, and also because I've got an opportunity to do a lot of events, some amazing events. So I mean, more I work for him. I will not say with him, but more I work for him. I think my belief in him as a leader, as a statesman, goes up. Now, a statesman is shaped by experience and guided by humanity. So why it is guided by humanity is because you need to connect with people. You need to do things which are good for the humanity. So when you are doing all that, you are connecting with people, you get the pulse of people, and then you are in a better position to implement them. Like I see so many youngsters, and I'm so happy to see more youngsters than hardcore professionals, because I need some of you to come and work for me also. So if I'm able to impress you with my work, or I'm able to tell you that there is, and especially those who want to be in event industry, आजकल थोड़ा, I don't like to call it, but I'm forced to call it Gen Z, Gen B, Gen A, Gen Alpha, पता नहीं क्यों label कर दिया गया. I mean, क्यों label कर दिया गया? Work-life balance सबको चाहिए, आज की जनरेशन को भी चाहिए, शायद थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा चाहिए, but that's about it. मतलब, but events में अगर आना है, और अगर किसी statesman के लिए काम करना है, तो थोड़ी सी तो रगड़ाई, इफ आई मे यूज द वर्ड, करनी पड़ेगी. और वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस में ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आपको, मैं थोड़ा सा बीच में थोड़ा सा डिविएट करूंगा, बिकॉज आई सी लॉट ऑफ यंगस्टर्स हियर, तो आई जस्ट वांट टू एड्रेस, सॉरी रॉयल. तो रगड़ाई करनी पड़ेगी. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके लाइफ में कोई लाइफ ही नहीं रह जाएगी. एक तो ये होती है कि जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऐसी स्टेटमेंट देता है, आप 15 दिन 1 महीना काम करते हो, तो आपको बहुत किक मिलती है. एक तो वो किक है, ज़रूरी नहीं आप सबको, एवरीबडी विल गेट हैप्पी विद दैट काइंड ऑफ अ किक. But the second thing is that yes, there are times when you're continuously working and there are times when you're off. So your Tuesday is a Sunday and a Sunday is a Tuesday. Now the problem comes there that if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and if they are not in this industry, तो उनका तो weekend off है और आप weekend पे काम कर रहे हो और आपका off होता है Tuesday, Wednesday, वो Tuesday, Wednesday काम कर रहे होते हैं, तो थोड़ा बहुत balance हो जाएगा यार, कभी इधर कभी उधर. But I must tell you this, कि जब आप रेड फोर्ट की रैम्पार्ट के ऊपर सुबह 2 बजे खड़े होते हो, सब कुछ फिनिश करके चाय पी रहे होते हो, एक्चुअली ये फैंटेसी नहीं है, और आपको पता है कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने 2-4 घंटे में आके यहाँ पे स्पीच देनी है एंड द वर्ल्ड विल बी वॉचिंग. वो जो एक सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट है, और स्पेशली जब आपने कुछ डिफरेंट किया है उस इवेंट पे, तो वो जो सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट है वो बहुत अमेजिंग है. और जो लोग उस अचीवमेंट की किक को एंजॉय करना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए इससे बढ़िया इंडस्ट्री कोई नहीं है. कमिंग बैक टू, So our honorable Prime Minister is widely regarded as an experiential statesman. मैंने आपको बताया है, जहाँ पे भी जाते हैं, जो भी करते हैं, वो experiential ही होता है. लोगों के साथ जुड़ना, what is experiential? Giving people an experience and being submersive, immersive. So this is what our man does every time he goes. Because as I said earlier, he likes to connect with people directly. And events give a fantastic platform to connect with people directly. Now, think of a guy who's risen from the grassroots level. ये बात बड़ी पक्की है कि इनकी कोई high profile family नहीं थी, high profile education नहीं थी, basic education, and very, very struggling family. So think of a man who comes from that and he becomes an international statesman. We all can do that also. It's just a question of putting that extra sweat and lots of blood in what you do. And on the global stage, he represents India with calm confidence. I talk to a lot of people and a lot of senior people who are sitting here. I'm sure जब आप सबसे बात होती है, हम लोग जब भी चर्चा करते हैं इस बारे में कि भाई, in the last 10-12 years, has the equity of our country gone up? Everybody says yes. When I go out, I am looked upon as an Indian, as a Bharatiya, with lot more respect than I was looked upon earlier. And it's pretty much visible. So only a statesman could have brought about that change that today, we as Indians, when we travel abroad, when we work abroad, we get that kind of respect which was missing earlier. I can tell you, I still do international events, more of exhibitions and stalls. About 15 years back, when I did events there, the situation, our acceptability was very different. Very different, especially in Europe. Southeast Asia में तो फिर भी ठीक होता था. Europe में तो बहुत ऐसे देखते थे. अरे, and in the last 10-12 years, when you do work there, their receptivity is totally changed. You are now welcomed. And I think that's purely because we have a leader who's an international statesman. So he's not just the leader of this country. He's become an international statesman who's made that impact for the brand India, which is all of us. So let's start with the journey. So he didn't become statesman overnight. But he started as the CM, 7th October 2001, when he took oath as the CM of Gujarat. And that also most of you would know how he came, what was he was a pracharak in RSS. So if you guys understand all that, then you'll realize that this was a statesman in the making. But it all started probably a little later, but we will start from 2001, 7th October, because formally, officially, he became the Prime Minister that time. Sir, it says time's up. अच्छा, कॉम्प्लेक्स दे दिया यार तुमने मुझे. मैं कि इतनी जल्दी कैसे हो गया टाइम अब? So, the PM Modi assumes office as CM of Gujarat, took charge amid administrative economic challenges. That time there were too much of challenges. But his journey as a CM was more of a statesman or a leader of this country, not an international statesman. Because most of the time there was a hostile government in the center, and a lot of countries didn't expect. US didn't give him visa, and so on and so forth. And as a CM, you don't get involved in international matters. As a Prime Minister, you get involved in international matters. So he introduced disciplined governance. I had the privilege of meeting him that time also. And surprising, the man is so well planned. It is amazing to see how well read, planned, and researched he is. And I think all of us need to learn from that, to do good events, not only good events, to be good in life, in whatever profession you are. Discipline and research is very important. और आजकल तो चैट जीपीटी परप्लेक्सिटी से रिसर्च एकदम इजी हो गई है यार. एकदम मतलब तुम्हें तो कुछ करना ही नहीं है, वही करते हैं सारा कुछ. So there was a marked shift from reactive administration to structured administration. This is how a statesman was getting built. The 2002 to 2013 was a chief minister's journey, as I said, an international statesman in the making. So I'll quickly skip few slides. The team has gone overboard to make few more. जब slides बनाते हैं, presentation बनाते तो होता है ना, और वो भी boss के लिए बना रहे तो भाई add कर दो 4-5 चीजें, which is interesting. But I think we have discussed all that, तो अभी move करते हैं. Then was the great day, 26th May 2014, when he got sworn in as the Prime Minister of the country. So that's where the international exposure started building, because as a Prime Minister, that's a major thing, one of the major things you do. Sworn in as the Prime Minister, assumed national leadership with a decisive mandate. I would say he assumed decisive mandate to become a national leadership, but today he is an international force. And the way you see all the other states, heads of the states, the way they treat him and the way they listen, well, yes, we are passing through some challenges with the US, but that's because then you are also strong. And it's a phase. Now the story, actually the build-up of the international statesman. I don't know if you guys recall, in 2014, I think he visited US, the Madison Square Garden, that huge event which happened. Nobody ever thought that an Indian leader can go to a country, I mean, Indian leaders have been going to the countries, all countries, could create an event like this. Purely experiential, because he was talking directly to the Indian diaspora in New York. And this was like some kind of a statement made. Now, this reframed governance and India's global presence, what makes a statesman? Or let's relate, we all would like to become statesman or stateswoman. So do not think that this is the story of Mr. Modi. The way I'm putting it, I could be wrong also. Or I could have missed few things. So my apologies to you, sir. So all of us can become, we all have the power and the capabilities to become statesman or stateswoman. Only thing is, we need to first want to be that. Second thing is, that we need to work towards it. खाली वांटने से कुछ नहीं होता, करने से होता है. So we have to, events में भी ऐसे होता है ना, आप PPT के ऊपर, एलन मस्क ने बड़ी अच्छी statement दी थी, never get impressed by what you do in PPT. Because in PPT you can do everything. The challenge is when you start delivering on ground. So he implemented structural reforms, expanded large-scale infrastructure. So the windows, the doors got opened, the world started seeing us, and he then by default started playing a much bigger role. Hi, Ankur. He started playing a much bigger role, influencing the international affairs. Strengthened India's international visibility and confidence, we've discussed this. And the landmark public diplomacy, including Madison Square, which started and then went on. I must want to tell you this also. In 2013, when he was declared as the BJP PM candidate, the first rally, we had the privilege of doing his first rally at Japanese Park. And for the first time ever in a political rally, dynamic backdrops, line array sound system with time delay, the agency or the party shooting the entire rally, video shoot, and giving feed to media, something unheard of, was done. And we could do it because the person, the leader, accepted that, okay, fine, let's do it. And after that, there must have been about 50,000, maybe 1 lakh rallies of all leaders put together, all political parties put together. ये वाली चीजें basic हो गई हैं हर जगह basic हो गई हैं. Then 2019, the second session started, the second inning started, re-elected, renewed mandate, reformed leadership, endorsed institutional stability, and so on. So now 2019 onwards is actually, the way I see it, again, I could be wrong, boss, pardon me, is that the international statesmanship started happening here with lots of efforts. Do I see Ved? No. Ved? Oh, sorry. Okay. So, then howdy Modi, and then somebody came here, to Namaste Trump, and all that stuff happened, which is all very interesting to understand from a international experiential marketing point of view. That you even started the visits. Can you ever imagine what makes a statement when you think totally like a statesman? So when you going to somewhere, it's called howdy Modi. When somebody is coming here, you say Namaste Trump. So that branding is happening to an event which has never happened. Heads of states visits have never been branded like that. Now, I think one of the biggest international contributions he did was during COVID, when almost 100 plus countries were given vaccines, where US was not wanting to give, Russia was still developing, UK was also very conservative. So that's probably made him a super statesman. 2021, we all remember COVID. And this leadership, proven leadership during this huge pandemic, a global crisis, made him a true international. So how do you relate something like this with your life? In your career plan, in your growth chart? I feel that we all do and we all can do things in our own way. We may, if I get an opportunity for international affairs, I may be an international statesman. I can still be my domain statesman, stateswoman. I can still do things. So you have to just think, be positive about yourself, be sure about yourself, and be sure about doing something which brings about a change. G20, the biggest event for us as event managers. What say, Ankur? And it changed the way India was perceived. That India can also hold something like this, and so successfully. So that's what, and that further, the statesmanship got further enhanced during this. The way the leaders came, the way everything went about it. So this, another very interesting thing, which is probably not only statesmanship, it is beyond being a great statesman, is that he did not confine G20 to only one or two cities. G20 happened across the country. Various chapters of G20 happened at various places, which was a very, very interesting thing from a branding or a marketing point of view, that you had a great opportunity to market yourself, and you did it so beautifully. The whole country was showcased, right? I'm sure we all know that, right? Do we? We know that, right? The G20 events happened, the various peripheral events happened across the country. The third term. And then I think the last 1.5, 2 years, he's been very busy internationally also, and there's too many pressing things domestically also. So that's, now it is beyond doubt, and if you want to say something for the heck of saying, you can say that the man is not doing good for the country, or the country is getting demeaned, or blah, 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 blah. But the fact on ground is that today, if India is respected by the world, definitely the credit goes to our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And today, if you see, a statesman shaped by experience and foresight. So the word experience helps us as our industry. I believe all of you are from around the events or media line, right? All of you? Management, okay. So management, this is very, very critical for management people also to understand and learn something from. Now, it connects policy directly with people, being experiential. You're talking to people, you're getting the pulse from people, so you're able to define things, design things better. And one thing which I really like, which makes him a true statesman and a true Indian, is we walk together, we move together, we think together, we resolve together, and together we take this country forward. Do we all agree with this? Do we all agree with this? No, we don't. Do we all agree with this?
Prime Minister Modi is the boss.
In these uncertain times, we all need good friends. And Modi ji has always been a good friend to me and to Britain.
Thank you everyone on this part. Any questions? Anything anybody would want to know, or we'll leave it to Rohil to roast me? So only Rohil will roast me, nobody's coming to my rescue?